Yo, what's up, guys? Kusanagi here doing a video on the new Nikkei and Evangelion collab that started yesterday. As part of that collab, there was a new unit that you can officially pull for, which is Asuka. She is an AR fire DPS in the Burst 3 slot and seems to be performing very well given her kit and the way that her skills work. So let's talk a little bit about Asuka and whether you should pull for her in Goddess of Victory Nikkei. So the current meta in that AR slot, there's really only one other character, which is last year's collab character 2B, who is also a fire DPS AR unit. She has seen less usage as of late, primarily because we have much better options like Red Hood and Scarlet Black Shadow, as well as Modernia being so damn good. So it's generally been kind of a fourth team kind of DPS for most solo raid teams, with A2 in some configuration, but she's not really at the top of the meta anymore now that we have Asuka. Let's talk about the obvious bait title. Should you reset Modernia? Or how does Asuka compare to a unit like Modernia or Alice? Well, it honestly is quite situational, depending on what you're fighting. Modernia is still going to outclass most units when it comes to AoE situations, besides Scarlet Black Shadow. But if it is a lot of Raptures and you need to use the Modernia Burst, she's still the queen of pretty much clearing the screen, and having that extended burst go for longer is good, especially when you have waves of smaller Raptures that you need to just clear very quickly. In single target boss, she can still do some pretty serious damage, but the issue seems to be that Shift Up is now pushing more elemental damage requirements for boss sequences like Solo Raid or the new Anomaly Special Interception, and that's where we start to see Modernia's damage numbers fall off. And the reason behind this is generally players consider elemental rolls and attack rolls on OL gear about equal, but that doesn't seem to be the case going forward. Attack rolls are still good, however, with the elemental QTEs and shields we're seeing, elemental just seems to outperform much better. A perfect example of this was the mirror container. If you were trying to run the Tia Naga team with leader and like Red Hood, the problem obviously became apparent when you have the late elemental QTE when the boss would do the roll, and you wouldn't be able to break them under certain circumstances. The timing on that basically required you to, one, have the leader buff active, and then have enough elemental on Naga to be able to break the QTEs. If you did not have both of those pieces to the puzzle, you could not break the QTEs, and you would basically end your run very quickly. And this seems to be the trend if we look at the new Anomaly Special Interception, that a lot of the bosses have an elemental QTE tucked in the later phases of the boss fight. They may have one or two early on, but they're relatively weak, and they're not necessarily elemental coded. And so this is where Modernia begins to have problems, primarily because during this elemental QTE, the boss also has a shield, which means Modernia's damage is effectively zero or very, very weak. Now, a unit like Red Hood obviously can pierce through that elemental shield, and that's also where Asuka comes in. Asuka has the ability to essentially shred through that shield. It's the same with Alice as well. Alice also has pierce, and so running Asuka and Alice together, or Red Hood, you start to see some interesting things, which is, one, Asuka boosts pierce damage, and she also is boosting her team's code damage. So the elemental code for that unit, if they are the strong type against that particular boss, they're going to get a nice boost on that, which means either the QTEs are going to just kind of be shredded, or the boss's HP is going to get shredded relatively quickly. And so this anti-AT field skill that she has, and the ability to add strong element to do more damage, puts her in a support DPS class that's a little bit unique. And it also puts her above traditional pilgrims like Scarlet, who, for the most part, are still very good AoE clearers, but don't necessarily have a pierce skill that allows them to effectively shoot through an elemental shield. And that's where we start to see some of these older units are going to lose damage in these new boss fights. So, what is the investment, and should you reset Modernia to build Asuka? The answer is no. That's a joke. Modernia is still going to be very good, but you should try to get a copy of Asuka. If you are going to skip the collab units altogether, I would really reconsider not getting a copy of Asuka, primarily because she is going to be meta breaking in the sense of she will help a lot of your other DPSs that you've already invested in, like Alice and Red Hood, be able to do additional damage. And we may also see the same thing for Mari. I'm less certain on Ray's skills and kit, as they are more of a support DPS for Asuka herself, rather than Ray being more of a universal support. So we'll see how the kits end up shaping once we can test them in the firing range together, and do different combinations of the characters to see like what is the best and most optimal teams. But when it comes to the investments for Asuka, the unfortunate thing is she's going to be a 10-10-10. You're going to need all those skills max leveled up. You can cheap out and go 7-7-7 early on. You can even kind of cheap out on skill 1 for a little while, but eventually you're going to need to have those skills at 10 just to really get the most out of her kit. And being able to have those maxed out means that you're going to have more uptime on her skills. They're also going to do more damage, which is obviously what you want for that AT field skill. And then lastly, when it comes out to OL priority, she only has 20 ammo, but she has a 1 second reload time. So that already puts her reloads much better than Scarlet. When it comes to OL, that means at least ammo. I would say at least 2 ammo lines. If you get a blue line or a black line, you're probably in a better spot of not needing too much more ammo. But your big priority is going to be elemental. Attack can be okay, but it's not really a given. Since her kit is so elemental focused, and that's where we're seeing the game shift to anyway. So if you get an attack line and it's black line, you should be happy. It's still good. It's just like an elemental black line would have been way better. An ammo black line also would have been way better, because when her AT field skill is up and she's doing armor piercing bullets, you want that just to be continuously firing. You don't want to be having her reload through that 10-second sequence. So more ammo is good for her. Elemental is always really good, as she's going to be doing a lot of damage to raptures that are fire weak. When it comes to her cube, resilience is going to be the best option, since it could get her close to a half-second reload, considering that she's a 1 second and the resilience cube is about a 29. So if you run her with like somebody like Crown, like she should be doing pretty fast reloads. You can run her Privity or Dorothy if you want. But yeah, she should be getting pretty damn quick on the reloads. And that brings us into team comps and all this other stuff. I think for now, you could run her with Red Hood if you want to, or with Alice, and give them a nice boost. That is what I've been doing in the Anomaly Interception, just to kind of test out fire damage, see how far along I can get. Running that team comp, DKW also complements nicely, gives her another boost. And that also means that Red Hood's getting a double boost from Asuka and from DKW. So we're getting into this meta of how much Pierce can you basically stack on a Pierce unit. We'll see when Mari comes out, because Mari is also going to do Pierce damage increase as a supporter, B2. I don't know whether she's going to fully replace Crown, or she might be a run with Crown in that 5th slot. So we'll see how good the kit is itself and whether it's going to end up providing a overkill buff for Red Hood or for Alice. For now, I would say sit tight. Asuka's a definite must pull. When it comes to Mari, there may be diminishing returns on Pierce. We don't know yet. Like I think this is the unanswered question: is there a diminishing return on Pierce? Is there a point at which like you've stuck so many Pierce buffs that they they don't really matter? It's like charge speed buffs. So if you have so many charge speed buffs, eventually, yeah, you're charging really fast, but you could have also just not wasted rocks on that and rolled like an Ellie and attack and got more damage. So it's gonna depend on some testing that we'll see in the next couple of weeks, as we will see Ray's banner next week and Mari the following week as part of the collaboration. Whether you should pull or not, I think I've already covered that. I think that you're doing yourself a disservice if you are skipping the collab because of the way that AT Field skill is just going to kind of tear apart a lot of these bosses that we're now seeing a lot of elemental QTE and shielding on. So there's going to be a benefit to running her, and I'm going to guess that the Solar Raid boss is going to have a lot of this gimmick. So unfortunately, if you want to place high, you're going to need Asuka at the very least to be able to have one of your, or two or three of your teams be able to do very well, so you can place pierce units around on those other teams and be able to pierce through the shield, assuming that is what the mechanic will be. If you've made it this far, I appreciate you guys for watching. I stream every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday on Twitch. Feel free to drop by. And also let me know in the comments whether you are pulling for Asuka or if you're waiting for Ray or Mari, which one is your favorite. I hope you guys are enjoying the collab so far. The minigame is quite fun. It's very frustrating, but also fun, especially if you max the speed setting to 2. It gets a little chaotic, but I had a lot of fun with it yesterday on stream, just trying to see how high of a challenge score we could get on the challenge stage. So good luck to you guys out there, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your week. Bye-bye.